This is celebrating 200 years of the RSPCA, and here to take us through that celebration, Olivia Reid and Ayling. Please give them a warm welcome.
Did it go, Sebastian? Have we got it? No, don't worry, it's fine. Hello, everybody. So my name is Ayling. I am Marketing Director at media agency John Ayling & Associates. I've also the new president of Bloom, and I can see a few Bloomers in the room, so thanks for coming out. And Stephen very kindly invited me today because I'm a member of the Future 100 Club, but that is sort of enough about me. As part of my Bloom hat on, I am going to try and be as inclusive as possible. So I am a white, cis, 30, 40-something-year-old blonde lady wearing a white shirt with zebras on it, chosen by my 6-year-old daughter because I told her that I was coming to speak to the lady who's done the amazing new animal ad. Mummy, you must wear the zebra shirt. Okay, cool. I'm sat opposite the fabulous Olivia Reid, who is Assistant Director of Marketing and Communications at RSPCA. And I'm absolutely delighted to bring you here today, Olivia, because we are celebrating 200 years of the RSPCA. An amazing feat for any brand. Not many people have the opportunity to work with a brand that is celebrating its 200th anniversary, but also we are literally hot off the press, less than a week old of a new brand campaign, an entire rebrand. So here we are celebrating creativity and brands in this room. Tell us all about it. Where did it start?
Well, thank you for having me. It's really good to be here, especially in this first week of a complete rebrand, as you said, in our 200th year. But we were set up 200 years ago by a group of really determined men, just at that point. There weren't any women at that stage, but they were set up really determined to change the lives of animals. They met in a coffee shop, which is now actually a Pret in St Martin's Lane. But the great things can happen when you congregate over a coffee. They had a real determination, and one of the lead characters that were there at the time was William Wilberforce, who went on to help abolish slavery. So that real determination to change society through, connecting humanity and doing the right thing for change. So we've got really, really wonderful, really progressive foundations, and we wanted to try and unlock some of that passion and energy that still remains today in the RSPCA, because we've got really big challenges to face.
Super. I'm just going to let Sebastian know that the clock hasn't moved. Cool. The RSPCA, I'm not going to ask for a show of hands because I'm pretty sure we're going to know, but everyone here has probably heard of them. They're probably even able to tell you what you do and what you stand for. So why rebrand and why now?
It's a really good question. So we're really, really lucky at the RSPCA to have over 90% brand awareness. That's an amazing strength of the brand, and I know, from any charity would be, really, really grateful to have that. But when you scratch the surface, we realised that we weren't performing as well as we needed to be in the face of some really, really, really big challenges that the RSPCA had. So our awareness is really high, but that strength of feeling isn't as well felt. So it drops a bit when you ask about popularity, and it drops again when we're looking at consideration to donate. And that's a bit of a problem because we do have really big challenges. So today animals face some of the biggest threats that they've ever faced before in that 200-year history, from the impact of the cost of living crisis. We know that there are thousands of families out there who are really struggling to feed their animals. We've got loss of wildlife with the destruction of habitats. So we're campaigning to try and change laws to protect wildlife. And with the rise of intensive farming, we're seeing really extreme practices on millions of animals. So, there's 23 million cats and dogs in the UK. There's 1 million meat chickens slaughtered every year for meat. And most of those are living really horrible lives. So the scale of the problem is huge. And we realise that we can't do this alone. The RSPCA needs to engage many, many more people in our cause so that we can actually face animal welfare together. So we needed to create that shift from saying that we're going to do everything and we need to tell people about the reasons why. So people, we're really well known for our cat and dog rescue, but that breadth of what we do, the fact that we've been changing over 400 laws in those 200 years, we need to kind of tell people and make this a cause that's relevant for them, and to also help people make good choices so that they can help animal welfare in their own environments as well. So this is about shifting that perception, welcoming more people into our cause so that we can help, face these challenges head on.
And how did you go about sort of starting that process? Because you've got all these challenges and you've got 200 years behind you, and I don't imagine this was done sort of 4 weeks ago. So how did you go about sort of starting that rebrand process?
Well, we've worked really closely with JAA actually on really helping us sort of map out and understand the sector landscape and understand how we're performing compared to our competitors in the animal welfare sector. And that gave us some really good foundations to understand that our sort of market share was on the decline, and actually we really need to respond to that. So a data-led approach has been fundamental to making good decisions. We then had to take that evidence and make the case to our board, and we haven't rebranded since the 1970s, so 1971 in fact. So this was a huge undertaking, and a real sense of responsibility to get it right. But we knew we were a bit tired. It needed to be done. It was very, very long overdue, but we had to come and make the case and prove to the organisation that it's something that was actually fundamental to our success and critical to the animals that we're here to protect. So loads of data at the beginning, and really trying to unite the organisation. So we hadn't, you talked about saying everyone knows about the RSPCA, but when you ask even people internally, like, why do we exist? That sense of purpose was different for different people. So we really needed to unite people under that same purpose, and that became the foundation of our organisation. So really helping us with that brand strategy, focusing and aligning people together about why we exist. And so our purpose is about inspiring everyone to create a better world for every animal, that talks to, welcoming people in, but really creating that better world. So it's going to be different for different animals, but we can then talk about the breadth of what we need to do as well within that. And that's been a really galvanising sort of moment for the organisation to come together and really sort of believe in what we're doing and why we're doing it. And then there was a lot of stakeholder engagement, understanding it's a very complex environment out there in animal welfare. So really listening to people, what they need from the RSPCA, what they need the brand to do to help us deliver our goals was really important. So a data-led approach has been fundamental to the success of getting us to this point.
And whilst we're sort of dealing with the world of data and creativity, how did you manage, because I know we had a number of different partners that you were working with alongside AMV and JKR, how do we sort of take that data and spin that into this creative platform?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So having that really solid foundation of that brand strategy all aligned to that purpose, we did that through a data-led approach. So we asked people to help contribute to that using a platform that was allowed to help us synthesize people's subjectivity and their views, and refine and create something that actually we could all align by. And then the creative development of the brand was also then put through the same system. So we were inviting people to feed in, tell us what they thought about it, at the same time compare our internal views with the public, so that we could really build something that we knew that was going to improve what we'd already, that sort of brand platform that we already had with the RSPCA, because we needed to be able to demonstrate that anything we did was going to be better than we had before, and it had to perform harder. And because we had that really great sort of creative and like the foundations of that really strong brand strategy, when we briefed AMV, our creative partner, to help us take the brand to market, we had that foundation that everyone could sort of align behind, and that allowed us to be bold, to be brave. We heard Calm talk about the importance of that. That was part of our, who we need to be. We need to be confident in our decisions, and that's allowed us to actually sort of push the boat with our creative expression of who we are as well. So we have our shorthand brand line, which is for every kind. That's talking about for every kind of animal, for every kind of person, and welcoming every kind of action, because big or small, we can all make a big difference for animals.
Yeah. One thing that for anyone who has seen it, the line talks about kindness, which obviously works very nicely off for every kind, but also it's a really fun, lovely actual when it comes to not just the campaign, but the execution of the ad itself. And again, going back to my 6-year-old, she's obsessed with it. She's learning how to spell RESPCT. And I think that there's something about like the creativity that allowed you came from this base, knowing where you needed to get to, but actually it enabled you to come up with something that is delivering a very serious message, but through joy and actually, I think in a very creative way, which is great. You mentioned you have obviously a board, you have a board of trustees to report to. For anyone who may read some of our slightly more right-leaning media over the weekend, there were challenges with this. So what were the main challenges and how did you overcome them, and have you overcome them?
Well, I think there are a lot of challenges through the whole process. So, the fact that we have a very complex ecosystem of animal welfare supporters, we are 200 years old, we're trying to protect that integrity of the brand whilst also being, much more modern and showing up in a way that's more relevant to people. So again, that data approach was really important to be able to say that everything that we were doing, we were testing the creative iteratively throughout the process, and that gave our board a lot of confidence that we were doing the right thing and making the right decisions. It also allowed us to sort of de-risk things, so we knew what the challenges would be. We knew what the challenges would be from some of the press as well. One of the headlines was that we were being wildly woke, and actually we're trying to say that we're standing up for, if wildly woke means being here for, creating societal change and doing the right thing, then we're quite comfortable with that and being proud. So we were really, really well prepared in thinking about any of the challenge that we were going to get, but we were also new and we had that validation that actually this was going to allow us to reach more people and still appeal to our current supporter base as well. So we, knowing that we have a really big dependent on legacy givers, so it's an older demographic, so we were making sure that we were always testing our creative and the response with that whole range so that we weren't going to alienate anyone, but we were still able to say the evidence is there, we can push the boat and we can use creativity in a way to help us.
So we're here talking about creativity on the creativity stage. How did you bring kind of creative, brand and media together for this campaign? How did that work?
It's been brilliant. I think getting the right partners is really, a really fundamental part of this. So we actually, we had an existing relationship with JAA, so they knew us really, really well and were able to help, but they'd always been working on our fundraising, so we hadn't actually worked on that kind of brand marketing approach. The RSPCA had never really done a brand marketing campaign before, so everything was new. We didn't even have a marketing team. I'm going to say we've got the wonderful Zoe here that's absolutely helped make this all possible. But working with partners is really important to get it right. So we had the foundations of the brand strategy. That's been the thing that's connected everything. But working collaboratively, together on developing the creative, how to help show that integrity of the brand, that it kind of all the way comes through in whatever it was, whether it was our ad creative or even the expression of how we launched it. So working together, we were able to come up with really great ideas, and we launched with the advice with JAA with a Gogglebox partnership on Friday night, and that was a really great way of sort of getting the conversation into people's living rooms and really showcasing that we are here for everyone, and actually getting into people's living rooms on a Friday night, having that conversation to help people rethink their relationship with animals was a really creative way of being able to start that conversation in a way and help people reappraise the RSPCA as well.
Yeah, thanks. I know Chris is in the room from Channel 4, so thank you, Chris, for your help with that. But I think from our perspective, it was a really easy way of understanding. It was easy for us to come up with ideas. It was easy for us to brief media because we had such a clear platform about what we wanted to deliver. So that was great. We live in a world now where measurement matters, and you have a board of trustees that are going to be asking you kind of for the results of this. What does success look like for the rebrand?
Well, we've got three kind of key measurements. So one is about that consideration. We know we've got to create the right sentiment in people so that they want to engage with us. And that's whether it's with their time, their money or their voice. So it's not just about donations, but income you know, if we want to meet these challenges, we've got to keep bringing the money in. And, you know, we're a charity, so we're completely dependent on voluntary contribution. So that's huge. But with that comes over time. The other one is around helping people really understand the breadth of what we do, because we know that if we show up in a way that's much more relevant, we're going to have more people to help animals in the long term as well. And then finally, it's about, you know, being front of mind. So we do have really great awareness, but people were telling us through the research that we just weren't showing up in their worlds anymore. So actually being front of mind, you know, being present in their daily lives is something that's really going to help us build trust, because we know that spontaneous awareness drives trust and support as well, but also helping people make those right choices about animal welfare at the right moment as well. So those kind of three things are really important to us.
Great, thank you. I was going to throw it open to the floor at this stage, but I've got 28 seconds to go. So, we can take a question. Does anyone have a question that they'd like to ask at this stage? Yes, hello, Joe Rigby. Woo!
I really love all the work you do, so thank you. So this isn't too difficult a question, but I really struggle after all these years with the royal patronage, considering the killing that the royal family do.
Joe, nice question, please.
So is that an issue that you discuss? What would happen if you drop the royal? What lobbying do you do to stop the royal family killing?
Yeah, it is a really good question, and it's one that we know we do have quite a conflicted audience in terms of the role of the royal patronage and what does that mean for our audiences. The thing about the RSPCA is it's so well known, and it's well known for the name of the RSPCA. So to lose that to drop the R, it would be really, really damaging to the overall brand, and that would mean that we wouldn't be able to have as much success with the wider animal welfare issue. So I think it's something that is familiar to people, but we don't have to labour the point about what that R stands for. However, the Royal Society of, we were given our royal patronage by Queen Victoria back in the day. That's where the patronage comes from. The royal family is changing and, trying to become a more modern organisation as well. So we're trying to influence and show, what a modern day response to animal welfare means. So we do talk to them a lot of the times, and we do have challenging debates, but it is something that just shines a light on, to lose the R from our name would be really damaging to how we show up in the world in terms of that reach and that brand recognition. And I think we need to make sure that we have that so that we can do more for animals.
Thank you. I had just had one thing. It's been obviously an exciting journey for you, but if you could sum up in 3 words what the sort of rebrand journey's been like, what would those 3 words be?
Quite intense. I won't lie, it's been a bit of a roller coaster, but overall it's been a privilege because, not many people get to work on such an iconic brand, and so there's a huge sense of responsibility to be able to do that, and I think we've come out with something that's authentic to who we are, but allows us to do more in the future.
Great. Thank you very much, Olivia, and thank you for listening.
Thank you.